Brought to you by Nordic Podcast.
We are here with Martin da Veiga, close friend of mine, a speaker, entrepreneur, and 2 years in a row, Norway's #1 meeting booker.
That's correct.
That is amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Times two, obviously.
Thank you.
So I'm really happy you had the time to come here. We have tried before, schedules, pandemics, like there's always something.
Yeah.
But we have you here now, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. First of all, really appreciate coming to the VOTCast. As
Yeah,
you know,
man.
we've been knowing each other since high school. So I can remember even back then talking about the idea, you drawing VOTware on the paper, and now we're here. So it's a beautiful journey, man. Really appreciate it.
That's insane. These are memories I haven't unlocked for decades.
Yeah.
But we don't meet as much as we should,
Yeah, 100%.
you know. But hopefully we could make some time up now.
Yeah, we'll manage, man. It's just a priority thing. So we definitely should. We both have a lot to talk about.
Right?
Yeah.
Because first of all, how did you manage through COVID?
Whoa.
Because that's how long it's been, man.
Yeah, well, of course, COVID for me also was tough.
Yeah.
Went through some personal challenges that have been quite tough, and but you know, it's also been a blessing. I believe, like in every crisis, there's a blessing, and I believe what the world has woken up to, at least myself, is how important human connection and relationships are, and what really matters on a fundamental level. So for me, it's been kind of a beautiful awakening to kind of connect more with myself and really feel what I want to go after and where do I want to take my next vision. And so
That makes a lot of sense because
Yeah.
for those who do not understand, what is first of all a meeting booker?
yeah.
Once you explain that, they will understand why relations, like you just said, are so important for you and why you're this successful at what you do, because you are a people person at your core. So what is a meeting booker?
100%, and thank you for mentioning and seeing that, because at a core level, a meeting booker is someone or is a person who schedules and books meetings, sales meetings, to a salesperson or a managing director for them to go into the meeting and sell. So he or her is specialized in just booking and scheduling a meeting in the calendar of the person who's supposed to go to the meeting and sell. And yeah, you call people every day you don't know through the phone, and during 45 to 60 seconds, you gotta convince them on who you are, why they should care, what you can help them with, in regards of which problem you can solve for them or which potential you can help them and achieve, and why the heck you're different from 10,000 other people that are calling and trying to pitch the same thing. So you got to be super precise, like a brain surgeon, in the way you communicate, and every word matters.
So it's almost like you are pitching
Yeah,
every day
yeah.
to I don't know how many phone calls a day.
I have no idea. How I schedule my day now, I'm not so occupied about doing X amount of numbers. I schedule my day into deep work sessions, and then I call for 60 to 90 minutes. And within the 60 to 90 minutes, I only do one thing, which is call and pitch. So I block out all the distractions. I'm hyper focused on what to say, how to go forward. So it's like putting yourself in a deep state of flow. So you kind of have a framework knowing what to say and how to say it, but it never goes according to plan, right?
Okay.
Because you're speaking with human beings.
Right.
And human beings have emotions and different days. So there's thousands of details that goes on every single second. So you got to be highly aware from calling to the introduction, to the pitch, to the value proposal, to to how you establish and confirm needs, and how you handle objections, and how you close.
So how did you fall into this? Because I remember, man, history class, me and you sitting
Chemistry.
it was chemistry,
Yeah.
sitting in the front row. If you asked me back then,
Yeah.
this guy would be at this level doing specifically this
Yeah.
type of job. I did not even know it existed. I did not even know this category existed as a profession.
Yeah, not me neither. But the funny thing is, you know, you remember I wanted to be a chemist. I wanted to do biology. I wanted to become a skin doctor, chiropractor.
Right.
But I ended up on BI. But
The business school.
Yeah, international business school. And then, but I'm kind of like this energetic. I don't know if I have ADHD. Probably I have. Haven't got checked for it. But I just love when I get bitten of something I love. I just love pursuing it and going all in. But my first year, you know, I tried to sell everything when I started for myself. And I tried to sell battery chargers. I tried to sell...
Battery chargers?
Yeah, like when you need to charge up your phone and then you have like a portable battery charger. Tried to sell web pages.
Wow.
I tried to sell profiling equipment for companies where you can like buy a shirt and put your logo on and reflexes and stuff like that.
And all this through the phone?
Yeah, all just through the phone. But the first year, nothing worked. And prior to that, after BI, just to jump to that again, I did yellow pages.
What is that?
Like selling advertisement in the yellow pages for 1 year. That was brutal.
That is tough. I've never met a salesman on the phone that I liked.
but that's the problem.
Yeah.
It's how most people approach sales. Selling and meeting booking is not the problem. It is the associations you have mentally which give you the wrong emotions when you work with sales, which sends the wrong vibrations. So a lot of things I'm talking about, I'm jumping a little bit now, but it's all about learning how to control yourself emotionally, mentally, and understanding a lot about human behavior and how us human beings works.
Right.
So the most important thing is not how the other person is feeling or perceive or is having a bad or good day. The most important thing is how are you feeling when you're communicating what you're communicating. Okay.
So let's say you have a client that you have Sava, you want to make Sava like get into a meeting with me because he's this big investor and I need his attention.
Yeah.
And then I like call you and I go like, yo, help me out here.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Okay, first of all, we got to break it down into fear.
Fear?
Yeah, fear, like having fear.
Okay.
Because there's one primary fear that are stopping people from succeeding with cold calling. There's several, but one of them is having the fear of not getting accepted or rejected, and also having the fear of failing or not having success. And if you take it further down, chunk it down, what creates that fear in calling on the phone? It is you don't know what to say and how to say it, and you're not secure enough in how your pitch is going to help the person you're calling with getting their problem solved or how they will reach their potential. So when you eliminate that, you know what to say, how to say it, and there's no uncertainty in the details in the pitch. You know how to do an introduction. You know all the details in the introduction. You know how to do a value pitch. You know how to establish a need and confirm it. You know how to handle objections. You know how to close. Then it doesn't matter if he comes with 50 different objections. I don't close every meeting I call, but it's about having a framework of knowing what to say, how to say it, and how to move forward. And then just being aware of every single scenario that can counterattack you on the phone.
Is this teachable?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's a profession. I can teach anyone to book a meeting. Yeah, I'm sure of that.
That's crazy, man. Because it sounds like it does sound from where I'm sitting that a lot of it is instinct, intuition built upon experience.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's kind of why I'm asking, like, okay, but is that teachable? And if so, like, where does one start?
Yeah, it is teachable.
Because this skill is transferable in life, man.
Yeah, 100%. It is teachable because you start at an emotional and mental level. So you got to start with the big picture and just understand business. Okay, what is business? You get paid to solve problems. What is sales? And then you start by identifying which limiting beliefs do I have within sales. So a lot of people think that they are pushy, manipulative. I don't want to interrupt important people in a day. They don't dare to speak up their mind and opinions when they're calling people that are above kind of their grade. So it's all about identifying which negative associations do you have within sales, and then you can start to reframe it. And that's what I did. I asked, why do I need to feel what I'm feeling and thinking what I'm thinking negatively about sales if I am to work with it for the next 45 years of my life? That's painful. I don't want to feel and think this way. So I asked myself, how can I identify and find new belief systems that would strategically help me within sales? And then I came up with kind of my most provocative statement, which is it's unethical to not sell.
It's unethical to not sell.
Yeah. And I can back it up with proof because...
I'm all ears.
Yeah. As salespeople, we're good to talk, right? But the proof is in the pudding. So if you go to a website called ringvirkninger.dnb.no, by selling, you create revenue, right? By creating revenue, you create taxes and so on for society. And taxes builds society. And it also provides jobs for teachers, policemen, and you can build football fields, like elderly homes.
Right.
So for me, for people that say I do not want to sell, then you're saying to me you don't want to contribute to society.
Right.
You don't want to contribute to police getting work. You don't want to contribute to new football pitches being built. So you're thinking more about your own ego than actually helping people.
Right, because you have connected now service to sales.
100%.
So the trade of that, I could see that, obviously.
And 100%. And of course, I've not always been a good salesman. It's been a lot of training. But at a core level, it's actually about caring about, really genuinely caring about other people, helping them solving their needs and problems and their potentials. And every human being on planet Earth has problems and potentials.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how famous they are, how powerful they are. If you can say, hey, my name is Martin, I'm calling because I can help you solve the problem you're having or this potential you're trying to reach, everyone would listen. But you need to be as precise as possible in the pitch by identifying the problem they have. Then they will listen instantly.
I see. So you basically put problem solving and service as your front line, and everything else opens.
Yeah, and helping them reaching their potential.
Right.
And a lot, and the emotional part of it is, am I feeling safe when I'm pitching? Am I coming from a state of love, presence, certainty, confidence, competence? Because competence breeds confidence. So it's a lot of training, right? So a lot of people have unrealistic expectations on how much time it takes to come to this level. And 3 of them are, you're expecting to reach a result in sales because you haven't had enough activity. You don't have the competence. You're just feeling entitled.
Right.
But that doesn't work. That's arrogance. But the most tricky one is you're expecting to reach a result because you have a lot of competence, but you've forgotten to have that activity. Because, just because you're smart doesn't mean you don't have to put in the work, right?
Exactly.
And the most frustrating, which leads to unrealistic expectations and like feelings of blame and disappointment, is that you expect to reach a result based upon a lot of activity, but you're not matching it with your competence yet. So my main thing is be so freaking good they can't ignore you and match it with activity. That's the golden
Right.
standard you should strive for, because then it's just a numbers game.
So, when you started this, how old were you, and how long did it take you to figure this out?
Ooh, that's a good question. I started when I was 21. After working in Yellow Pages, was sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Right.
Didn't want to have a boss that telling me to do things they're not doing themselves, not leading by example. And it's back to one of the things I told in the beginning, because after Yellow Pages, I was trying to sell everything. I didn't have the focus. I have a lot of energy, but I need to center that energy into a framework so I can channel it in a direction. And December 2014, I understood, after having a revenue of 54,000, was a cocky ass guy going out of Yellow Pages, thought I was going to become a multi-millionaire. And then first year was 54,000 NOK in revenue. Had to take up a consumer loan for 110,000 Norwegian kroner. I had to max out my MasterCard and American Express for 25,000 Norwegian kroner each, total of 50,000 kroner. And I was on NAV. And then I was like, okay, this business thing, this entrepreneurship thing, it kind of didn't win as I planned. So I don't think
a lot more cost than expected.
Yeah. So I needed to focus, right? And then I said, okay, what do I kind of like? I like sales, but I kind of like meeting booking the most. So I just started, got one opportunity for 1 month, and said, okay, this is your shot, Martin. You got to deliver. If you don't deliver now, you have no work. I delivered. Then I got another assignment. Just keep grinding. And like my 4th or 5th year into it, I was like, I don't know if I'm kind of good at this, if this is my thing. And then suddenly when Finansavisen approached me, I was like, okay, perhaps I'm good, I don't know.
Right.
Because for me, I'm just doing what I'm doing, you know. It's common thing for me, booking meetings. It's just ongoing.
It became nature.
Yeah, it became nature. So
yeah.
So for me, it's really booking a meeting with someone. It's really just a natural process,
right?
Basically. So yeah.
How? Let's say there's someone who wants to learn this skill, but apply it to their day-to-day relations. Because what you've basically spoken about is, you've spoken about empathy, putting yourself in other people's shoes, putting service first.
Yeah.
You even said most people's angle is wrong. The angle one has to approach with is problem solving.
Yeah.
And these things, I see all these things as translatable skills you can learn and acquire and use in your family relationship, your own business, raising a child.
100%.
But what is scary is that this is not common knowledge.
No, not at all.
Because if it was, I mean, you wouldn't be where you are.
No,
and booking meetings would be a lot easier.
I forget about it, you know. In my head, I think it's
right.
It's common knowledge, but I understand it isn't because I'm so used to it now.
Right.
But yeah, it's true what you're saying. It is. It ain't.
No. But so, do you think you had a unique predisposition to this growing up? Because I know that you have roots in Cape Verde.
Yeah. Well, it's a good question. I would say I am blessed in a way with having a unique ability to communicate and speak. But I haven't gone into the health store and bought 10 milligrams of elite meeting booking skills on a supplement, right? So that's why I don't want to project this image to the people listening that I'm like this alien guy and nobody can do what I'm doing.
Right.
It's a systematic, structured approach, both the emotional and mental part and the practical part where anybody can learn it. But I'm not saying everybody needs to love cold calling. But the funny thing, I hated cold calling in the beginning. I have no education, so I had to go into sales. I hated selling, to be honest. Going to Yellow Pages, I was dreading to get up in the morning to go to work, but I had no other option.
Wow.
So I the irony is what I hated, I had to become good at. And when I
Right.
become good at it, I learned I can't work with something I hate my entire life. So I got to learn how to love what I hate. There got to be a
Wow.
better way, right?
Wow.
So I needed to challenge the perception I had about sales and booking meetings, because I didn't want to feel shit my entire career if I have to go this career path I've chosen. So that's when I started to try to challenge every perception and thought I had around what I hated.
You're very introspective, because a lot
Yeah.
of people will, because that's a very powerful statement. A lot of people will obviously back away from something they hate rather than look at themselves introspectively and go, why do I hate these things?
Yeah.
If it is service to begin with, and then twist it or turn it in a way that I actually love serving in this manner.
Yeah. And the important thing is, back to the primary fears we have the fear of not getting fear of getting rejected, not getting accepted, fear of failing in business, not having success, fear of losing money, not earning enough, fear of not being intelligent or being dumb. But the point is, if you work with sales, it's not a question if you're going to get rejected. The question is, do you want to get rejected in half an hour, 1 hour, 5 minutes, 10 minutes,
Right.
3 hours? So my thing is, I just want to get rejected as fast as possible, because true fear, true actively seeking your fear, seeking getting rejected, seeking failure, seeking losing money, that's your road to the other side of the rainbow. So the obstacle is the way. You got to confront your fears, and you got to expose your body for the feeling of rejection, humiliation. And I say, in sales, there's a cup of venom you got to drink every single day. In that cup of venom, there's the fear of rejection, the fear of not getting accepted, as I mentioned, a lot of stress, inner turmoil for not reaching your KPIs, friends looking down at you. But the question is not that if you're going to pay a price. Pick your poison. It's like, and in order to pick your poison in sales, you got to have a vision of who do you want to be, what do you want to have, and who are you becoming, and what do you want to do. And that vision got to be bigger than all of your fears. That's the only way you're going to drive forward through the pain and pleasure and embrace both sides. Or else you're not willing to embrace both the pain and the pleasure in pursuit of the purpose. So you got to have a vision that is bigger than all of your emotional fears. Yeah.
Wow. So fail often and as fast as possible, because in most cases, or in a lot of cases, it's inevitable, and you just stall that fear and drag it on for 10 minutes, 1 day, 1 hour, whatever the case.
Yeah, and what is actually fear? If you try to speak around, speak a little bit around it, because especially in cold calling, I define it as it's irrational scenarios and details which the mind creates because it's the unknown. And that's the thing. If you don't map out the details, you plan and prepare the execution, then you're not willing to execute because you're not seeing the details. It's the
right.
It's the uncertainty of the details. What is going to happen in introduction? Is he going to reject me? So a lot of the times when we don't know the details, we're afraid to execute and actually do what we're supposed to do. But that's why rejection is your best friend, because every single call you get a little bit smarter. Every single decision maker educates you on why are they saying no? Why are they saying no for now? So your market is your best friend. So by taking notes and gathering information and doing self-analysis, okay, I'm struggling in the introduction. Why? I'm struggling in the value pitch. Why? I'm not unsure how I should establish and confirm the needs. Why? I'm struggling with handling the objection of sending me a mail. I'm struggling with the close. So like a surgeon, you got to work on every single part, every single detail, until there's no detail that is gonna surprise you on the phone. I can still get some surprises for today, but not so much. And then,
how was your last surprise?
Oh, that's a good question.
The last one that made you go, I gotta get back to the drawing board on this one.
Wow, yeah, that's a good. Honestly, that hasn't happened for a long time, but that hasn't happened for a long time. But it can be perhaps when I've asked a question to establish a need, and then I said, okay, for example, so what was your revenue stream last year? And then they have gotten a little offended of how direct I've been on the phone, and not in a mean way, but some people. Because I don't minimize myself when I talk to decision makers, or it doesn't matter on which level, I dare to ask them questions in order to establish the needs. But sometimes people can feel it can be a little bit provocative.
Right.
So
why do they have that fear or that defense mechanism?
Well, I just blame myself.
Yeah.
And because it's much more empowering to take it on me, and to not blame it on them, because a lot of the times when that happen, I can emotionally and how I pitch, I come off a little bit too strong, with too of a strong frame, too direct, too forceful, too pushy. So in those circumstances, in that conversation, I remember I could have been a little bit more soft. So it's a lot about what is the energy I'm projecting out with what I'm saying and how I'm saying it.
But then how do you know the intensity level you need? Do you study these guys beforehand? Is it like...
It's based upon I don't study them.
Okay.
Or that's not true. I study them. I know what type of decision makers there are.
Okay.
But when I talk to people, by hearing their voice, by hearing sound, because you just have your voice and your ears, right, on the phone, it's basically just speaking to thousands of people. I kind of get an emotional map of
where they are.
Yeah.
On the spectrum.
100%.
Damn.
So
you have eliminated body language. This is what's really difficult, because when you are sitting next to someone and talking, you can see body language, and people say, what, it's 80% of all communication.
Yeah.
This is eliminated on the phone. There is no body language. It's literally just tone.
Yeah, but the thing is, I don't hear only words, I feel words. So a thing about this is every single word has either you have a subjectively positive association to it or a negative association to it. And that's how I should also work on structuring my pitches. What do I mean about that? For example, if I say mean, most people have a negative association towards the word mean. If I say collaboration, most people have a positive association around collaboration. If I say the word negative, you get my point. So a lot of the times in structuring a pitch is using the right words which have the right emotional connection to that word. And it's also about how you're presenting it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The way you're using your voice, are you speaking from your neck up here, or are you able to take it down and really ground the one you're speaking with to impose authority? Or so it's just, you're not seeing the body language, but in my case, I feel the people I'm talking to because I also have a high level of empathy. So it's really just about listening. Is it flakiness in the voice? Is it a lot of, for example, if you call them and they're in their car and they're saying, "Hey, Martin, yeah, hello."
Okay.
Then it's like, "Hey, it's Martin calling here from company X. Am I interrupting you right in? Are you driving your car? Am I interrupting you?" So I'm just saying and labeling, which is a really powerful technique, what's happening in the present moment. And by doing that, you get their instant attention. And by being empathic and caring about other people and showing that you understand the context and the narrative of the conversation, people also understand quite well that you're a good person too, because they see it's a real professional here and a quite good person calling me. Right. So it's
I see.
yeah.
I see a lot of transfers in this again, as I've said, because how would you? I think you would be a really good hostage negotiator. Like, no, because let's be honest. Let's think about it here. What does someone who, like, whatever, who has a hostage, like all these hostage negotiators, what they do is they're problem solvers.
Yeah.
They're trying to identify the needs of the person across the phone. They try and satisfy or fulfill those needs. And what is their number one thing? Keep them on the line.
Yeah.
Don't let them hang up.
Yeah.
I think we found your... would that be your calling?
No, I don't
have
know.
you ever thought about the parallels?
I've been inspired. I've read Chris Voss, Never Split the Difference, which is recognized. He's recognized as the number one hostage negotiator in the world.
Wow.
We worked for FBI and Black Swan Group, I think.
I didn't know
it's
this.
called.
Wow.
So he's the one where I learned labeling from, Chris Voss, and he has a powerful masterclass. So being probably unconsciously a little bit inspired about him, but the most important thing is just when you book meetings is, okay, you can't sell something or convince something to others if you haven't convinced yourself. Are you comfortable with what you're selling? Are you truly in your heart trusting yourself that this product and service can help this person you're calling? And then when you know how to move forward, it's just repetition and training. I don't have all of my days aren't good days.
No.
So people got to understand that it's just a habit that has been formed and trained upon every single day for 8 years. I'm a result of 8 years of training and 11 years of personal development and courses around the world and diving deep into NLP, human behavior, and different mentors.
Diving deep into
NLP.
What is that?
And Neurolinguistic psychology.
Right.
I'm a certified practitioner, master practitioner.
Of Neurolinguistic psychology.
Yeah, or programming, they call it, NLP.
Is that like how the words have power for neurological perspective or
how you use words,
influence?
Yeah, how words program your mind, basically.
There was one example I heard of neurolinguistic programming of when you're late to a meeting, if you go, sorry I'm late, versus if you go, thank you for your patience. Yeah. You have literally changed the mood of the room. Yeah. From you coming as the, let's call it, perpetrator of a bad thing, a fault. I have held the meeting up, I'm late and I'm apologizing. Yeah. Versus you coming saying, thank you for your patience, and being the bringer of gratitude and praise. Yes. That even though the meeting has been held up, it's because of your good qualities.
That's a good, I haven't thought of it in that way, but definitely that's just reframing, right? And so it's like what people don't understand is words have way more power than we actually think. And every single word at times can carry an energetic vibration behind it. Mm-hmm. And you got to be really consciously aware of how you structure your words. And that's the name of the game when you book meetings, because and how you use your voice and how you're feeling, your state of being is that specific day. Right.
So what else in neurolinguistic programming, like for the rookies out there, including myself, could you elaborate on that?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I'm not an expert in NLP. No. But I think it's been a fundamental thing which escalated my communication skills far beyond what I thought, because it created kind of a foundation of my language. And also I'm born with parents from Cape Verde Islands. They speak 6 languages.
Wow, 6?
Yeah, so...
Which ones?
Norwegian, English, Creole, French, Portuguese, and Spanish.
What on earth?
So kind of having that from the family and the NLP, it's giving me a lot, but the best way I can describe what NLP has done for me is the ability to... It's just my brain helps me ask quality questions and helps me do self-analysis in a much broader way without striving so much for it, because it's just natural for me.
Right.
Yeah.
But that is technically the definition of reprogramming.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah,
Taking something new and programming it to be a habit, and then
Yeah.
effortlessly performing that habit.
yeah.
So how has this affected your personal life? Because I see you're in really good shape,
Thanks.
and you look exactly the same. Like you don't freaking age, man.
Thanks,
This is the
man.
exact same. Like even in high school, like same everything. So how has this affected your personal life in terms of health, in terms of psychology, in terms of bettering yourself? Like
Yeah. First of all, yes, it's a good question. Uh, it's it's done it's done everything for me
Mhm.
actually. It's number one, I'm much able to connect with human beings on a much more authentic level and understand humans on a much more fundamental level, because the funny thing, we're all the same, but it's just our values and model of the world which are different, and then we judge what we haven't owned in ourselves. But in essence, we're all the same, wanting safety,
right.
food, love, relationships. So I would just say, yeah, it's broadened my perspective. It's easier to connect with people, understand people. It's easier to be a good friend, help people. It's easier to just be inspired. It has also helped me a lot through challenges, mental challenges, emotional challenges, personal challenges, by understanding that I'm not a slave of my emotions and my own thoughts. I can actually be a master of my thoughts and of
Mhm.
my emotions, a mental master. So for me, it's a mental tool combined with other things I've done. I have kind of a toolbox on how I can reframe, reprogram my perceptions, how I can better take control of my decisions and actions, and understand why I feel guilt, why I understand I feel shame, understand why I feel blame, and don't let that burden and carry me for a long time. But I have mental tools and models where I see them as feedback systems
Right.
that guides me towards growth and just becoming an even more mental master, basically.
So what's a daily routine for you? Because this is a lot of upkeep. This is a lot of
Yeah.
deliberate habits that you have planted in yourself. So what does like a routine look like for you throughout the day?
It's a funny thing because I'm actually not a morning person.
Well, that theory goes out the window.
So a lot of people think like, yeah, I'm super disciplined, but I'm also undisciplined at a lot.
Uh-huh.
And I've normally wake up and listen to some music, coffee, and just jump right into work. So the funny thing, I haven't had like a firm morning routine. Like I've just woken up sometimes, perhaps 1 hour prior to work, just coffee,
Get on it.
get on it, and just calling, because it's just a strong habit
Right,
by calling.
right.
But what I try, at least my routine is wake up at 7:15. I do Wim Hof.
Wim Hof.
Yeah,
Like the breathing.
breathing method. Then I watch some personal development to activate the mind. Then I work from 9 o'clock to 2 o'clock. Then I do follow-ups from perhaps 2:30 and up. Then I train, come back home and work more.
What do you train? Anything specifically?
Now I'm training CrossFit 3 times a week.
Wow.
A good friend of mine is actually the national champ in CrossFit, so that's pure hell.
Yeah, what's his name?
Henrik Yttervik.
Oh.
Yeah.
So he trains you or you train together?
No, he trains me. He's my personal trainer.
Wow.
So it's he's a beast.
Shout out to him, though.
Yeah, shout out to him, man. So I at least have a standard of training 3 to 5 times a week. So 3 times with a personal trainer, and then the 4th and 5th time by myself, doing either boxing, running, strength exercises, and so on.
Right, right.
So yeah, so for me it's about having a sustainable framework when it comes to habits of what's the lowest you're allowed to go to when you're on your bad days, and what's the best, so it's sustainable over time.
So a spectrum to navigate within.
Yeah, 100%, because I need that framework or else I'm super creative all over the place. So I try to have a framework like financially, mentally, spiritually, socially, physically, within a standard method of operation at a minimum to a sustainable level. But by human nature, I always want to push beyond my highest level.
Right.
Yeah, because I don't believe in limiting our expansive nature, because it's in our nature to expand and grow and push beyond, even though it's painful at times.
Do you see yourself expanding further into maybe a different field? Like, what comes after this? Is there an after this? Have you thought about it? Is there a goal that you're aiming towards 5 years, 10 years from now?
I have a lot of ideas. And first of all, now it's trying to build up the software company we're in. And
what software is this?
I'm the co-founder of something called Leadjabber, where it's a software company which works with lead generation. And we basically have a RPA platform. It's just a robot process automation, which can automate things.
Okay.
So you can automate emails, build email sequences, stuff like that. Just build automation workflows within sales and marketing, but mostly sales. So we're doing some exciting things within the sales space, coming out with our own prospecting tool, which can automate the process of finding emails by itself. So I'm on that journey now. And I have some other ideas also that I haven't executed on yet. But my vision, my timeless vision, I can say that because I feel that is a timeless vision that will go way beyond my death. And that is, my vision is to create, help people solve problems and potentials, having fun, while enjoying the ride and creating deep and meaningful relationships.
Yeah.
So that is my big picture vision, which doesn't run out of time, which I stick to. And now I'm putting that into sales, meeting booking, lead generation. But definitely I've thought about a lot of things, like online course, podcasts, writing a book.
Yeah, you definitely need to write a book. Like, I would read the heck out of that one.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna read your book also. So looking forward to that one. So, but it's
you can get one on the way out.
Oh shit!
I can hook you up.
Nice, cool. So no, but it's all about also having a realistic framework on when to do what. It's when to prioritize what. So I have a map, but we'll see what I will execute on. So,
because we see the landscape, the global landscape is changing crazy. Like
100%.
2019 versus 2020, we all know what happened, right?
Yeah.
Like 95% of everybody stayed at home and was working from home.
Yeah.
Companies like Zoom and all these other video conference call companies skyrocketed in usage and in as well evaluation, market profit evaluation. Yeah. So we also see that just that one event changed the landscape of how people work, how people connect, and the priority of going to work versus staying at home. A lot of jobs, even now that everything is open in a lot of countries, people are not going back. They're like, I can work from home, so now this is what I'm going to do. Yeah. And I'm sure this impacted, I would say very positively, your sector of booking meetings, because now that everything is like on calls, you're like, yo, I was here already.
Yeah, the thing is, first of all, I've been used to working alone for a long time, so for me it wasn't that big of a change, but it was challenging, of course. But actually, one of the perspectives when COVID hit, it was hard for me too, booking meetings, working alone, being isolated. But an interesting thing, just to prove a little bit about what I talked about earlier about perspective. Okay, the world's biggest crisis hit. I don't like it. I don't feel well about it. Then I ask myself, what do I have to think? How do I have to feel in order to make it my biggest blessing and inspiration? So I wrote down 4 perspectives, which is, doesn't matter in the biggest picture of it all. Doesn't matter what happens, because the fundamentals of a business is that it will always, doesn't matter of crisis, war, pandemic.
Right. We might have the second one you just said.
Exactly. So, but the thing is, there's 4 perspectives that helped me during the crisis, which I came with, is that in a business, it will always be relevant to increase profits, reduce costs, optimize or automate manual labor and work, or digitalize your income source, which has been a major thing right now. So for me, I was like, okay, I needed to chunk up and look at the big picture, go outside of the noise. And that perspective really helped me during COVID. So, and it still helps me now, because every single second there is billions of transactions happening, and it's just about you needing to get plugged into that flow,
right,
by helping people,
right,
solving their problem, helping them reach their potential, because the business world can't stop. You can't just pull the plug on every single business in the entire world and stop the business world. So
what advice would you give? Like, because you even said it yourself, these markers you have, basically they apply in all businesses through all types of crisis, right? But now look what's going on with Russia and Ukraine. Look what's happening with the economy. There is a lot of speculations, obviously, right now of what's to come in the next year. Heck, in the next month, so not everyone obviously is a business owner, but I truly believe that the things you're talking about, they are something that, if learned, can better the lives of private people, personal, and their personal lives.
100%.
So let's say in this uncertainty, look at, for example, the inflation. It's what, 4 to 7% per month.
Crazy,
right now,
it's crazy
due to all the printing and all the monetary easing. So it's like, how do they safeguard themselves? I know presidents can answer this, so you're not going to solve the world's crisis right now.
No worries.
But I want to hear your perspective on this.
Oh, that's a good question. Okay, this is a perhaps a longer answer, but I'll try. The thing is,
I mean, is there a solution? Yeah.
Well, the thing is, at least what worked for me or has helped me a lot, it wasn't the only solution, but the thing is, one of my main mentors, Dr. John DiMartini, who's major in human psychology and human behavior, I went to him when I was 25, and that really gave me a quantum leap mentally and in all aspects of life. And what helped me is, I think a lot of people are lacking a sense of purpose. They're lacking a clear identification of what are their values. I'm not talking about emotional traits like loyalty, kindness, stuff like that, but his process is, you identify your values based upon your actions. How do you spend your day? How do you fill your time? How do you spend your money? What you talk about in social gatherings? And by identifying the answers and counting up, if you answer socialization, friends, business, you can see you're having a high value on that specific answer. When I actually understood my inner value system, and that can change, right, because of crisis and things that happen in life, but I think it's crucial that we learn children and youth and people in a much earlier phase what are their highest values, having a clear sense of purpose, and learning how to live by priority of your highest values, where you maximize inspiration, certainty, love, and gratitude for the process of going after your purpose by serving the world in the best possible way, by the way you feel is right based upon your own unique values. If that is fashion, if that is socialization, if that is entrepreneurship, if that is fitness, if that is singing, if that is making the best furniture, if that is being a hairdresser, if that is organizing beautiful things in a shop. But when you identify your actual action steps and habits based upon how you're living, and not based upon what you think should be, or you think it should be, could be, based upon what family, society, politics, and different systems are telling you, but actually you look at your life. What are your actions telling you you're valuing, consciously and unconsciously? And when you prioritize a life based upon that, I think beautiful things can happen.
Honestly, I couldn't agree more, because there's this narrative of pursuit of happiness.
Yeah.
I think it's a dangerous narrative.
Interesting.
And I'll explain why. I think the pursuit of happiness on a physical, mortal plane is a very dangerous narrative. And I think it should be switched out into the pursuit of purpose, the pursuit of meaning.
Yeah, 100%.
Because suffering, or the cause of unhappiness.
Yeah.
First of all, we'll go into the fact that happiness is a state of mind.
Yeah.
But first, the definition of a physical life is suffering. You go 6 hours without food, you're hungry.
Yeah, 100%.
You go 2 hours without water, you're thirsty.
Yeah.
There will always be suffering.
Yeah.
And if you're not in the right state of mind, suffering will always be correlated to unhappiness.
Yeah.
There are not many people who are happy when they're hungry.
Nope.
There are not many people who are happy when they're thirsty. So you are living in a world where you will get physically challenged.
Yeah.
Where you will suffer.
Yeah.
It is 100% guarantee.
Yeah.
So if you are on the path of pursuit of happiness in such a physical world, you're bound to be unhappy.
Yeah.
If the mindset is not there. But if we remove pursuit of happiness with pursuit of meaning or pursuit of purpose, what does that do to you? Like you mentioned, all these different aspects and occupations you mentioned were purposes, right?
Yeah.
This makes suffering, the inevitable suffering that will happen to you, it makes it tolerable. It in fact makes it
meaningful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And thus you can endure.
Yeah.
And thus you can really suffer and be happy.
Yeah, and it's a funny thing. I think, I don't remember the quote precisely, but if it was Buddha, says the source of human suffering is trying to avoid what is unavoidable, and trying to something like that in that course. I don't remember a quote 100% precisely, but I can say this much more precisely. We human beings have fantasies, and fantasies are one-sided expectations. If I'm saying I'm always sad, I'm always kind, never sad. I'm always positive, never negative. I'm always respectful, never disrespectful. If you expect yourself and others to be one-sided, you're gonna experience, as my mentor says, the ABCDs of negativity. Anger and betrayal. You're gonna feel blame. You're gonna feel irritated and frustrated. Well, that just is based upon you and me being unrealistic that human beings are supposed to be one-sided. Yeah. And the only way you're willing to drink that cup of poison is, and by embracing both sides, the rejection and acceptance, is by you gotta have something that is worth pursuing.
Exactly.
in the sense of purpose and meaning.
Exactly.
Because why the hell would you endure all the hell of life and what it throws at you and all the emotional and mental challenges and the spiritual challenges? You won't be able to endure it.
You will be miserable.
Yeah, you will be miserable.
You will suffer. Suffering without purpose.
Doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to suffer without a purpose. It's that's torture.
Yeah.
That's torture.
And thus, suffering with a purpose, that's happiness. That's like you are happy.
Yeah, that's meaning.
Let me put it this way. Why is... Okay, I've obviously never experienced and will never experience childbirth, but I'm going to use it as an example.
Yeah.
Why is childbirth one of the most difficult physical ordeals someone goes through? They suffer for 9 months and then they suffer for the next 24 to 48 hours of delivery. But they look back at it as one of the happiest moments of their life.
Yeah.
But they're suffering. So how can you be happy? Meaning and purpose.
Yeah.
We really need to remove that narrative of pursuit of happiness and put pursuit of meaning and purpose, because it guarantees happiness in good times and in bad.
Yes.
And there will be a lot more bad times if you have that wrong mentality.
100%. And talk about a lot of things, because we're quite good to being in doing and going after things and like doing mode. And then there's the opposite of being, right? Just learning how to be in acceptance, a state of bliss. And actually happiness is an inside job.
Happiness is an inside job. I like that.
Yeah, it really is.
Absolutely. It's a state of mind.
Because we have that nature of wanting to expand to reach goals, but when you reach that goal, you want to expand to the next one. So it never stops, right? But so that's why I added to my vision, enjoying the process on the way, not only just creating, helping, having fun. Because sometimes I can forget to actually enjoy the process on the way, because reaching the goal, it's one day and then you're back to the normal life.
Yeah.
But
how do you take time to enjoy the process?
Well, just
because it's very abstract, but how do you practice it out?
Yeah, I have a specific thing. I sit sometimes in silence, with no lights, or with some meditation music or beautiful music as I prefer. And I just focus on smelling, listening, and feeling, and getting in a state of acceptance and letting the body move at its pace. So I don't force, I let my body breathe the way it want to breathe, and just go in 100% being mode.
Being in the present.
Being in the present, not trying to judge, just observe and just really, okay, how am I feeling? Is it hot? Is it cold? But just connecting with your senses and not trying to run away from your feelings.
Do you believe there is more to human capacity than what we see around us?
100%. I think human beings we have no idea the level of consciousness we can be upon. And I think there's a higher level than the mind, which is the soul. And at the highest level, there's the soul. And I don't think it's even words to describe the intelligence and level of consciousness that is surrounding us as human beings at every single level. If you are aware and open your eyes to it, it makes me really humble and grateful, and it's challenging at times, but it's the mystery of life. Yeah, it really is. It makes me humble. It's
definitely a mystery of life, and it's a journey, as you said, to pursue and fulfill this.
Yeah, it really is. And the funny thing is, like, as you see now when we speak, this is the concepts I try to bring into meeting booking. So it's not just about booking meetings.
No.
It's 80% is just how do you think and feel around these concepts we are discussing right now. Fear, emotional models, belief systems. Then it's put into a practical thing in what to say and how to say it. But it doesn't matter if I give you the perfect script on what to say and how to say it, if on a fundamental emotional level and mentally level, you're in bad states and not working on your being and your mind every single day. That's where the toughest job is. So
Yeah, because if at the end of the day, it is a job of connecting people, and as you mentioned, we are emotional, spiritual beings to begin with.
yeah,
That's how you connect.
100%.
It's right there.
And when you kind of understand that, it's like every other person can feel irritated, frustrated, feel guilt, feel shame, feel blame. They can feel down, up. They can feel irritated.
But do you feel then now, because this is the era of texting.
Yeah.
We're in the era of text sender.
Yeah.
Everyone has their phone on silent mode. Like, I have my phone on Do you feel we're losing this communication? We'll talk about the metaverse, is less and less physical interactions. When people do talk, is comments, emojis, text. We're going back to Egyptian hieroglyphs, basically, with the emojis and emoticons.
Definitely one of the beautiful things with social media is, of course, we can all stay way more connected across the globe. It's super fun at times, but it's there's no doubt that it has a lot of pros and a lot of cons. And I believe one of the things we have, perhaps social media have contributed to, is that we have disconnected a lot from our nature. And because it's a one-sided world that is being presented on social media. Nobody is posting their bad days, their guilts, their shames, their blames, their suicide thoughts, or their depressions, and speaking openly about that, and that's the thing. Also, I want to be like frank about, because there's a price of success, people, and that price, there's a price to pay, and it ain't all sunshine. It ain't all what you're seeing on Instagram and what's all being presented. People have no idea if you're like just starting out. But again, when you have a strong enough purpose, you embrace both pain and pleasure in pursuit of it. So, but yeah, I think like after COVID, that was what woke me up, the power of human connections and how related we are if we actually just learn to speak from a state of being and not just being in a state of doing all the time and just being in our mind analyzing things all the time. Because the greatest, when I really live, I'm present. That's when I feel alive.
When you're present.
Yeah, when I'm actually in the moment.
Because a lot is being automated in our lives. Like, we enter these routines when we wake up, when we go to work, when we come home, when the weekend hits, and then you've automated suddenly 20% of your entire life.
Yeah, it's true.
And the other 20%, let's say you're sleeping.
Yeah.
So when have you actually consciously, in the moment, lived or served or grown? So it's a challenge, and I really feel this is what scares me, at least. I really feel the next generation has a huge challenge. Growing in today's world with the, let's call it the obstacles of isolation, bad communication, texting, not really in touch with the real physical world, and not being grounded, not seeing their true potential, not seeing their true, like who they are as humans. This is what worries me. This is what really worries me, where it's going. Because look at the statistics, purely on the statistics. Depression is rising.
Mental health issues.
Clinically, we have more youths this year on antidepressants in Norway than ever before. We're not really going in the right direction here.
100%. And
it's almost like you said, right? We have an unimaginable potential. But you would not know that if you are focusing on the pursuit of happiness in a, well, let's call it a trauma world. and using antidepressants. Maybe it's justified, maybe, but I
don't think so either.
Right.
I'm not a doctor, and the thing is, I can only speak from my experience, but I have found emotional and mental tools which have helped me through this, a lot of the same issues. And I don't think we're good at teaching people from a young age just how to connect and relate with your own feelings. And feelings are the nature of your body, and your body is constantly communicating to you through your feelings. And I believe our body has intelligence that is far beyond what we understand. But when we neglect and don't stop and, okay, how do I actually feel? Do I actually want to do this? That's the power of a habit, because it just keeps you going. But at times you can just get stuck in the same freaking pattern, not getting out of it. So I try to schedule at least one day a week where I do nothing. I don't plan. No plans. Whatever happens, happens. I just let my body and my feelings decide what I want to do based upon what I feel. Not based upon what I think.
Right.
So, because there's a lot of thinking and intellectual pursuit in what I do daily, that's really good. But I think more and more people need to learn how to just trust their own bodies and feelings, and use that as a guidance, and just feel their way forward. Because you can't plan the future 100%, right?
No.
You can have a plan until life hits you in the face.
Right.
So sometimes you just gotta go with the flow. Yeah, let kind of the nature of your feelings guide you.
Right.
And jump into the unknown, and then you find out what's in the unknown.
Are you afraid of anything in your personal life? Because your relationship with fear is, honestly, it is how it should be. It is exemplary.
Thank you.
Do you have any phobias?
Yeah, 100%. I can be. I had like sleeping out in the dark has been like at a.
That was your phobia?
Yeah, this was like I had like a bad. Ever since I was a child, I had like a bad thing about the dark, but I conquered that by sleeping outside in the forest with a friend of mine.
I was about to say turn off the lights.
Yeah. So like I'm not this Superman guy that doesn't get afraid of anything.
But that's a very extreme way to conquer it. You know, most people start by turning off the lights in their bedroom.
No, I jump right into it. That's the quickest way I feel.
But it means you really trusted your friend.
Yeah,
you
really.
Cannot do this with someone.
No.
Like me, I'll punk you, man. I'll be like, you heard that?
And
what was that in the woods, man?
No, and it's like. Then I had a fear of because I didn't learn how to swim until last year.
You learned how to swim finally?
Yeah. Because I had a fear of like what is under the water, and like I can sink to the bottom and die.
Bro, I used to not bully, but I used to tease you a lot. Like, we're living on a planet 70% water. You're from an island, Cape Verde, and you can't swim?
Yeah, I remember.
Congrats.
Yeah, thanks, man. So I learned that. So I conquered that, and with the help of my friends.
Same friend from the forest?
Yeah, he was one of them actually who helped also. So so that was nice. And frankly, of course, I can have a fear of losing money at times, not earning enough money, failing in business, losing my health because of prior experiences. But our past doesn't equal our future, right? Our memory is only like our brain is just trying to help us from things that have happened in the past, but we label things falsely at times just as negative, and we don't see the hidden blessings of the negative things that have happened to us in life and how it's helping us fulfilling our purpose.
Yeah.
So when we can see the benefits in the negative stuffs, and see the pros in the cons, and see the cons in the pros, and learn to balance out our perceptions of how we see things, then you start to program your mind by seeing these hidden blessings of things that are happening for you and not to you.
For and not to.
Yeah. So then you can see on, okay, that breakup or that bad thing that happened, how did it serve you? And it happened on the way, not in the way. So I have a quite strong relationship to fear because I see in the unknown is where I grow, and fear is just that I haven't covered the details. So by going to masters that are better than me, people that have done it before me, learning from them, getting the details, trying to implement myself, implement it myself, you can stand on the shoulders of giants instead of being afraid to move forward. So, and in the end, we're all gonna die, right? So like that.
At least our physical bodies, for sure.
Yeah, that. If Elon Musk doesn't invent something artificial, then we live until infinity or something.
Do you think that's a possibility? Like purely speculative, obviously. If Elon Musk makes something that causes our DNA or our cells to duplicate and heal 100%, because that's aging and death. Each time you get older, it heals 99%, 98% until it can't do it anymore.
I think there's a huge possibility within the next 20 to 40 years that we can expand human life by quite some years.
Would you rather expand it in quantity or expand it in quality? What I mean by that is, would you rather live to 200 years or still live to 100 but look the same?
That's an interesting thing. I'm quite curious by nature. So that's a hard choice.
That's the choice you're given, man. Blue pill, red pill.
Yeah, exactly.
But like, because honestly, I think the second option is more medically possible than the. Well, than, let's say, living to 500 years versus still sticking to 100 years, but looking the same. I think the second option is more probable.
Yeah, it makes more sense that the second option is more probable.
Yeah, I think we could slow down aging.
Yeah,
but we can't stop physical death.
No, and I don't know. This is a quite big question, but like every fear is actually bound down to the last fear, which is fear of death. And would life have any meaning without death?
Exactly.
So it's
as they say, your highs are directly proportionate to your lows.
Yeah. So it's like we wouldn't feel happiness if we wouldn't have a perspective to sadness, and learning to embrace both sides gives meaning and purpose and enjoyment of life. So
that's why we can't pursue only the happy. We have to pursue the meaning. Exactly,
because that's where the suffering comes in. You're only pursuing one side of thing, which is not realistic.
Right.
But yeah, I just like to live, man. Feel alive, and I feel alive when I'm confronting what I fear.
So what's the next confrontation? Let's end with this. What is your next Goliath that you're trying to expose yourself to? And
I have started a little bit. I don't know if I will accomplish it, and I'm not gonna commit live to doing this. But
no, that's the fun part. Man.
Yeah, but the thing is, I have when I say something in my brain, it starts something, you know.
Right.
But that is like
it was getting the crazy eyes.
And that is I've tried some boxing, a little bit of sparring, but the biggest confrontation and where I know I have the biggest personal growth physically and mentally is putting myself in a ring in a boxing match. That would definitively, I would have personally the biggest growth lies there for me in embracing confrontation to that level.
Right.
And that would be just for the experience. I believe there's a lot for me there to learn.
One amazing thing, if you do decide to enter a ring, you'll not need a booking agent. Because you got that naturally. You'll be able to get your fights, get the pay-per-view money.
Yeah. No, so it's not like, it's not on a hurry for me to do, but by sparring a little bit, and because I have such irrational fear around that area, a little bit of that is real, but just by sparring a little bit and feeling about it, there's a lot of teachings in that.
Of course.
Yeah. So.
Now, Martin de Veiga, it was, and it will always be a pleasure.
Likewise, man.
And before we end, let them know where to find you and where to follow your journey.
Yeah, so you can follow me on Martin de Veiga on Facebook, Martin de Veiga 92 on Instagram, Martin de Veiga on LinkedIn, martindeveiga.no. It's a Norwegian site. But ask me questions. I answer back. I'm easy to talk to.
Are you easy to get and book a phone call meeting with?
Yeah, I'm super open. People think I'm like this serious guy in suit that like I'm super hard to get. Like I'm curious by nature and love talking to people. So thank you so much, guys. It's amazing to see what you're doing with VOTCast and
thank you.
where you guys are heading, and then entrepreneurial spirit you guys are having and pursuing. It's inspiring for me too. So I'm following your journey too, and like rooting for you guys. And I'm really grateful that I got a chance to come here also. So hope
always a pleasure. Man.
Yeah,
always
likewise,
a pleasure.
man. So
thanks, guys, and we hope to have you back one day.
Yeah, thanks.